Welcome to the Patricia Joe Grover Show, where we turn believers into achievers. And today, my guest is LaChelle Adkins. Now, LaChelle, her topic that she covers a lot is life after depression, and so this is a really important thing. And I want to have you, LaChelle. Thank you for being here. And can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Absolutely. So, first, I just want to thank you, Patty, for allowing me to share this platform with you. You just have so much wisdom. We really connected the first time I talked to you on a Zoom call. So, I'm happy to be here and to share with your audience. So, life after depression is something that really was a struggle for me. So, just a little background as to who I am and how I even got into this topic is I'm also known as America's Supermom. My husband and I have 15 children. So, needless to
15.
say,
15.
life can be crazy. Okay. We have 8 kids who are currently e learning and 10 of them total who still live at home. And I was raised an only child. I was raised with academics being very important. My mother just really impressed the value of education. So I was a high achiever. I always sought to be in the gifted classes and, getting the best results, very competitive. And when it came to living my life as a parent, I just felt like I was failing. So I go from achieving and doing well to every day I felt like I was failing in life as a parent because
Okay.
this checklist that I created to accomplish every day, I was not getting done. And so, needless to say, it got me on this downward spiral of focusing on the negative, right? Trying to people please, not having any boundaries, not knowing how to say no. Just the list goes on and on. So I dealt with 13 years of depression and I was hospitalized 3 times during that. So I wasn't
Wow.
depressed where I was in the bed. I was still actively taking kids to school, class parties, and things of that nature. But I was just living a life that was unfulfilled.
Wow. And I'm sure so many of our viewers and listeners can relate to this. Not in the not in, not in 15 children's standpoint. Not too many people do that. That's a different kind of crazy girl. Um,
Yeah,
but but in the sense of, uh, again, feeling like they're not, because they're not able to accomplish everything that they put on their own plates with that. A lot of it, as a parent, we do put that on, but we have to have realistic expectations of ourselves. And if we saw, and if we notice our children doing that, we we're more guarding for them for that, but for ourselves we don't do that as a whole. So
absolutely.
that, and that's
Yes, and it goes with your history,
right.
So for me to be raised and, all the way up to a college level, I met my husband in college and got my degree. So all that academia, just really got me brainwashed to think that, okay, I can be the person who is able to accomplish not only my dreams, but the dreams of everybody else.
Right.
I can put us all on this goalpost of what we're going to accomplish, and it's going to happen if I work hard enough. And so, I really was on that mindset of thinking if you work hard, you can achieve it. And I mean, I get that that is true to some extent, but you have to really be cognizant of the fact that is this a personal goal or is this a family goal? Because if it's a family goal, everybody needs to be doing their part, not you carrying the load of what at most sometimes 15 people, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And like we had talked before, we have to want, you know, we have to want it for ourselves. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter. And even for your children, LaChelle, I know you know this. You can't want it more for them than they want it for themselves. If
So
if if they're getting if they're being told, "Hey, you ought to do this. You should be this. You should do that." it doesn't matter whether it comes from their parents or their teachers or family or friends, they have to want it for themselves to actually put
So
the work
true.
and effort into it. And so again, I applaud you. That's so much on your plate. And obviously you've made it through that struggle, and now you're able to help other people to be able to do that and understand it.
Yeah, and I think, it really is a topic that we all are familiar with depression. I mean, I was familiar, but because I wasn't in the bed under the covers, I thought, it wasn't even on my radar,
Right.
to even think that I was depressed. And it wasn't until later on, after I, got to the point of recovering from it, that I was able to recognize the signs, because in each of the cases where I was hospitalized, my husband sought intervention. So I was still running, running, running on that hamster wheel, thinking that I could do it, that it was having an impact, I was making progress. And he was like, look, something about this isn't right,
Right.
And so for many people, that's where we are. We don't even see for ourselves.
Right. Exactly. And so yes, and you know, I applaud you again for that and sharing that, because it is that sometimes it's very hard for people to share things that they have been through. And you know, and there's no reason for people to feel embarrassed or less of a person for that, because we have all had struggles, every single one of us, I wouldn't say, I mean, I had many struggles through my youth and going up through, but it's only made me who I am today.
So true.
And people have to realize that. So I want the viewers to listen and understand that if you're going through something like Rochelle's talking about now, there you have so much more ahead of you and available to try to bring things around to make your future the best that it can be. So um so let's I have some questions for you. This, I'm
Okay.
sure, it will be helpful for our viewers. So how do you keep it all in order with all those responsibilities when you have 15 children?
Absolutely. I really love collaboration. So, coming from a background of being a high achiever, to me, it was a sign of weakness to not ask for help.
Oh,
It
okay.
was, hey, you find it out. If I would go to my mom and say, Mom, how do you spell whatever? She'd say, go look it up in the dictionary. Or, if I had another question, hey, go check those encyclopedias over there and figure it out. And so, I got to the point where questions just seemed like they were taboo. I had to figure it
Oh.
out some way on my own. And so that was the mindset that I had, that when I was beginning to struggle, which to me, it's just like, I don't know something. So let me go figure it out. And that really was the basis for that downward spiral, because I felt, well, I'm weak. If I'm asking for help, I should be able to figure this
Oh.
out. I should be able to know. But even just the whole element of staying home, I didn't know what that was. So I'm going from this mindset of get doing good in school, going to college, getting a degree, having a good career, life ever after with your husband and two kids. And that reality was not what I saw. So I didn't have an example. All my colleagues were working, that career that they wanted, and I didn't have an example. So I was trying to figure it out, but had no clue what I was doing. So now it is all about collaboration. I am an open book saying, hey, I don't know how to do this. Somebody help me, because I have found through my own struggles that there are so many people who can help me. It's all about really being able to identify what am I struggling with, so I can ask the right person. Right.
Yes. I couldn't agree more. So fantastic. And again, I hope our viewers are listening to this too. And also, and what I want to bring up from this and is that it's how, again, how your childhood, how you were told, go, if you want to know the answer, go do this and that. And that helps us with our belief windows of how we look at the world when we grow up, so. And sometimes it could be, and we're not saying that they were bad parents, because actually, I enforce that. That's good, that especially in today's day and age, these kids, they're so used to looking stuff up on the smartphone rather than actually going to a dictionary or whatever to find something. So I think it's good that we teach our children how to learn it, how to do it, you know, teach them to fish, and
Mm-hmm.
everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes I don't know how you don't do that when you have 15 kids. How do you say, oh, you can't answer everything for everyone and do it for them all the time?
Right.
You've got to, I'm sure, send them, okay, this is where you find this, and all that. So that's kind of one of those things, but it's fantastic to know, that you have realized for yourself that you have to be able to ask for help when you need it,
Mm-hmm.
and
So
and
true.
and that is so important. So thank you for
Mm-hmm.
sharing that. um
Mm-hmm.
so what was your biggest obstacle of overcoming the depression, once you determine it, because you have to determine it first, but
Mm-hmm.
what was the biggest obstacle?
To me, I think it was the victim mindset because,
Yeah.
I was always wearing what I went through like a badge. It was always the topic of conversation, especially at home. Now, I didn't really do it a lot with other people, which was, it's one of those things to where when you have that aha, you say, oh, you know what, I'm going to live life differently. I figured out what the issue was. And so we want to put our past in a closet, hence the term skeletons in your closet,
Right,
right?
right, right.
We think we can lock it away and never have to think about it again and just live this new life that we desire. And the struggle I was having was a blend to, because I feel now that I wouldn't be where I am today without my past. But my past was not in alignment with who I believed I was. So I was going through this loss of identity because the depression that I was suffering with, the life of fulfillment, it was so different than the life I had growing up and who I really would consider myself to be. So the hardest thing was to get rid of that victim mindset because I felt like, oh, this isn't me, but I was a victim. Somebody got me to this point. And so once I was able to stop blaming my husband, my kids, and every other excuse about these decisions that I was making,
Right.
then I was able to look at myself in the mirror and say, regardless of how you got here, the reality is you are here. So what are you going to do about it? Because I was really fearful after being hospitalized 3 times that this
Right.
was a pattern that was going to continue. And so that fear really caused me to take some action, massive action, and get with myself and do that inner work and say, look, we're not having this. I am done with this. This is not serving me. And I want to get back to the person that who I was. However, I had to learn the lessons. I had to learn how to have boundaries. I had to learn to love myself instead of trying to put other people's needs before my own. And just a number of things, how to have self care because I wasn't doing that either. How to have a good night's sleep. Okay.
Right. Right.
So basic stuff. So, yeah, so that really was the challenge, I think. But once I got over that, I was one of those hard headed students. I guess it took me 3 times of bumping my head against the wall to finally learn, right?
Right, right. But again, you did learn, and jokingly, Rochelle, I say yes. I help people do, what you're talking about all the time as far as for clients. But I've never tried to help somebody juggle putting everything in their calendar for with a family of 15 kids. Because
Mhm.
that in itself, that deserves an award. That
Thank
because
you.
to be able to, even for a family, we'll just say a family of 5,
Right.
that can be crazy. But for to put all of again, when I talk to people of planning and calendaring and getting all of the big pieces are you. The big pieces are you first, and then your kid, your
Amen.
husband, your spouse, your kids, and into that, then you put everybody's else, the rest of the stuff into the calendar. and what you're trying to do. So yes, you definitely had so much that you were juggling on a basis. So yes, again, I applaud you so much.
Thank you.
And again, that's the thing. But I hope everyone, the viewers, were listening, that she really had to accept that, and that those self-defeating purposes,
Yeah.
we all do them at different points for different reasons. So it's to
Amen.
catch those and accept those and realize that you are worthy and you're capable of more. Whether you
Yeah.
believe it at that time or not, you
So
are.
true. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I mean, I struggled with that because I thought, well, if I'm not doing good as a mom or whatever, immediately I would go into self attack mode.
Right.
You know, I'm the one, and it's so narcissistic, really, if you want to say it, because it's like nothing is about you. But when you're in that space, everything's about you. Oh, woe is me. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares. And it is,
Yeah, and that's a rough place for people to 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 dig themselves out of that
mhm.
feeling. So now, let me ask you, now that things have turned around, what's your daily routine now?
A non negotiable for me is self care. Okay. And, self care looks like doing what I want to do when I want to do it. Okay. It is not always going to get my hair done, my nails done. Those things are good. However, it is just me being able to do something for me, setting my own goals, my own time that I uh, take to implement those goals. So, I really was under this mindset, which didn't serve me. Was my self care was when my kids were asleep. So I had the concept of thinking I was giving myself the leftovers because my kids would go to sleep. I do everything for everybody else, and then it's me time. Well, then I'm falling asleep in my bed with
Yes.
the in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
My clothes are on, or I'm somewhere uncomfortable half the night because I'm trying to squeeze in the leftovers
Exactly.
instead of giving myself the best first thing in the morning. And so just doing that, and it started off where it started off at 15 minutes. It was just like, let me just get up early just to set the intention for my day. And then I can greet my kids with a smile and not have that attitude of, I have to do this, or, nobody's helping me. And, you know, yeah, I have all these things that I have to juggle. Nobody's around to help. I'm the only adult. My husband worked all the time.
Right.
And it just got me out of that mode of feeling like life was happening to me. And it gave me the space to start saying, hey, I'm here for a reason. I have a purpose. I want to do what's important to me. And so as that became more consistent, then
Right.
it grew and it was more time. And so, I thought it was really funny because now that my kids are e-learning, normally I get up like around 6 o'clock. I would get up at 6 and they would have to be at school by 8 would be the first set. And, I would be able to have some time for myself. And since I have dedicated a lot of my day to being in school with them, so it's a different kind of work. It's listening maybe to some podcasts or different summits and things where I'm not actively doing a lot of my work on my business or following up,
Right.
through emails and stuff like that. It's like, look, I need to get up earlier, because I have to get some stuff done, like interviews and, because I'm a taskmaster with some of this stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
when I used to think 5 o'clock in the morning, oh, I am not getting up that early. Now
Right.
it's like I have to get up at 5 so I can get started and be productive and get everything done. So it really is interesting how that is turned around for me because I would be like under the bed, okay, trying to get as much sleep as I could. But now it's like, wow, how much earlier can I get up? How much more can I fit in a day? So I'm really excited about it. So I would say that's really the key is picking out those pockets of time. And, I started out my business with just my cell phone.
Right.
Well, it's hard to see with this
Right.
virtual but everything was in pockets of time. When I'm in car line, I was doing podcasts or answering posts, creating posts on Canva, right? And just all sorts of things I was accomplishing on my cell phones, because it doesn't take a lot, but it's about being consistent with the things that we do.
Exactly. All those things are things I teach. But now I wanted to point out you saw me chuckle a couple times while you were talking. And I wasn't chuckling laughing at you, I was chuckling relating to you.
Amen.
You know?
Yes, we've
And
all been there. Okay.
exactly. It's real. We're talking real life here, and the things that we're sharing, again, they're to encourage, educate, and empower others to be able to take something from this. So what's your favorite way to network? Because it's all about, for whether it's people needing to find those people to be supportive in their personal life or professional life. It's all about making the connections for the people that you need for that, for that ask, for that thing that you are working on. So what's your favorite way to network, LaChelle?
I love being able to go to networking events, and now I have just been in overdrive on Zoom. I feel like, hey, we've got a new way of doing it. I am just thirsty for meeting new people. I think the easiest thing for me is really knowing what my story is has allowed me to find people that are like me. It's this magnet that brings us together. And once I got over the fact of ego, you know, where it's not about me, and the ego sometimes where we seek validation from other people to identify where we are, who we are, that I was able to be more vulnerable and share authentically who I am, what I went through. And as a result of that, I find that I meet even more connections through podcasting,
Right.
because people refer others as guests. And when I do speaking engagements, people reach out and say, hey, what you said resonated with me, because I feel like it's important
Yes.
to allow people to have that space to think. See, in my case, I was on this hamster wheel. I didn't have time to think. You could ask me what was my favorite meal, and I would look at you like a deer in headlights, because it's like, is this a trick question? Wait a minute, this isn't on my list of things to do or whatever,
Right.
because I was really robotic about a lot of these things. It was numb. I told someone in an interview the other day that I don't even remember crying during this time. Now, yeah, I went through childbirth and things like that over this 13-year span, but it was just, I didn't have time to be weak. So I thought my husband worked almost around the clock, because he was the only one. And for a family our size, you understand.
Oh yeah.
He also was an officer in the military, and he's a pastor. So all these leadership positions, it's like, suck it up. Nobody has time for a whiner, somebody weak. You gotta, he's a soldier, he's a pastor. I mean, I just, hey, three strikes, on every level. I had to be strong.
And a pastor's wife, and I know this because I know people that are pastors' wives are almost like widows in a way,
Yeah.
because of the fact that they share so much of that person's time and attention and affection that he gives to his parishioners. And it is kind of like that, because you get the leftovers from that. And I'm not saying that in your relationship, even though I can almost say it, you know what I mean, because I know so
Amen.
much that that's what it is, because they are
Yes.
giving of their time and talents to
So
others.
true. Yeah. So, you got to figure out how to create your own situation, and I even tell people, embrace who you are, figure out who you are, so that, when you meet somebody, you can find someone who resonates with you. We have been conditioned to think you don't know anything, your voice doesn't matter.
It's true.
because we're told on magazines, this is how you're supposed to look, this is how you're supposed to be. And so when you don't fit that mold, you're like, well, something's wrong with me. I'm not fitting. Instead of saying, you know what? I don't choose to dress that way. So let me find somebody who dresses the way I want to. Or that doesn't resonate with me. So let me go find another tribe or community who does. So we don't have enough courage to speak up for ourselves. And that voice of ours gets buried and buried over and comes across with self doubt,
Right.
second guessing yourself and not having the confidence and esteem to move forward on something sometimes just as simple as what you're going to feed your kids for dinner, right? I would
Right.
be like, oh, well, I want the accolades and the buy in from my kids. So sometimes I'm not making the best decision because I'm allowing them to choose so that I can look like, oh, we love you, mom. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So it's just, it can be a cycle that you need to break. And, you can't blame anybody but you because that hero is inside of you. They just need to be let out.
Yes. Kudos. Kudos. I totally
Hmm.
agree. Fantastic. Fantastic information. So, what is um no, I already asked that one. So, how do you acquire guests for your show?
Yes. Now, I miss what you said because it froze for a
Oh,
minute.
okay. How do you acquire guests for your show?
Oh yeah, through Facebook Lives. So I'll do a Facebook Live, and then at the end of the Facebook Live, put my calendar link up there, encourage people to reach out, and then the rest of them usually come through referrals.
Right.
So someone was on the show, then they give me an introduction, and so it grows from there. And then same thing through like Facebook groups. I actually am in like over 400 groups because people, after they're guests, they invite me to a group. And back here on my background, I was in a Facebook group and we collaborated together to create a book. So that book is going to be launching November 19th. And it's all from being authentic, sharing who you are on any platform. You just never know where it could take you. And now to have a book published, I just think that's commendable from just a short period of time.
Fantastic. It surely is with everything else you have on your plate, but you have so much good information and knowledge and wisdom to share with people, and for people to realize the struggles that, they're going through or that you've been through, and you share. It's fantastic information to be able to get out there. It's empowering. So
Yeah,
thank you for being a guest and being on the show. And hey, and I actually was a guest on your show too, so this is
absolutely.
fantastic. And I what I say, um because I'm always looking for people who are willing to share their story and be authentic and get out there. Because what I do with people, helping them achieve their dreams and goals, it's all about getting messages from people like yourself to be able to give that encouragement and that empowerment for them to be able to move forward. And it takes us linking arms in and working and moving forward. And to me, everything, this isn't, I'm not here for a competition. I am here because I know what I have to be able to offer people, and I know what you have is offering something fantastic too. And some people may need to hear more of your message to be able to help them move forward with what I do. So fantastic. I'm so glad to have you here with me. And
I am so
so,
glad to be here.
yeah. So, LaChelle, do you have any
We're going to say no to depression.
right? There you go. Yeah. Yeah. If I
It
don't,
used to be say no to drugs, say no to depression. Yes.
well, in today's society and what we've been dealing with all the negativity bombarding us, from all around, whether it be social media, whether it be the news, whether it be, TV, print, all this stuff, you know, we need to ward that off. Be like Wonder Woman with our, and you with the Supermom with Wonder Woman bracelets. You know, keep the negativity away, and because that, you know,
Mhm.
and self sabotage and that self doubt, those limiting beliefs. You are worthy and you are capable. So LaChelle, what do you have any special gifts for our viewers and listeners today?
Absolutely. I would like to invite anybody who feels led to share their story to come and join me on my podcast. You know, a lot of times this is hard to be able to have that vulnerability, and it is so liberating when you do. So it's a safe space. You know, my podcast is to help empower the listeners to have hope. You know, I started a series that I call Corona Chronicles during this time because I felt like there was positivity that needed to be shared in the midst of all the negative uncertainty that we're facing every day. So as we approach 2021, a lot of people hear about podcasts or, doing videos. And, I was in that space. That was me in 2019. Okay. So I'm blessed that I had a little bit of experience to adapt to where we are today. But, I was afraid to do it and I got a partner. And I want to give him a shout out, Chris Salem. We started out doing Facebook Lives together, and he didn't know. He was this mentor that I was just, I had asked him to do it with me. And so he didn't know that I was scared. And he really helped me with my confidence over time because we did a 5-part series. So I'm inviting your guests to do the same and do it with a partner. Consider me a partner to help you conquer that fear because many of us, age and whatever kind of things, limiting beliefs we have in our head, just do it. And you can do it with me on my podcast. Okay.
Fantastic, LaChelle. Fantastic. And again, you know, I reach out to her, folks. Reach out to her. And so wonderful again to have you with me. And so we'll put that information, her contact information. We'll put it down below for you. And for anybody wanting more information, you can find out more about me at patriciajogrover.com. And if you text the word goal, GOAL, to 866-926-4020, I have gifts there for you valued at over $600 because right now it's the best time to focus on your future. You know, 2021 is coming. So I have there the 7 steps to goal achievement. So, you know, go ahead. I have my second edition of my book coming out and launching soon. There's a coupon there for $5 off, but you don't even have to do the $5 off coupon. You don't even have to order the book to do the assignments because I have you take action. I'm like, put the big girl panties on and get to work. So you know, send me back the 3 assignments, and I have for you a that gift. You do those assignments and send them back to me, and I will give you the hour consultation that I have reviewed all that information, and I help you put the framework of your plan of action into place so you'll be ready to kick off 2021. So thanks
Amen.
so much for being with me, LaChelle, because again, sharing all this information and being authentic with people and letting them know they're not in this alone.
Absolutely. You are so
Yeah,
welcome. And thank you so much for having me as well.
there. All right, wonderful.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right.
Until next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.